Okay, so good evening again, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of our session. And quickly, I'll just show what we have done so far. Okay, so on day 1, right, we covered basics of Python. We did basic programming like print. We looked at variables. Okay, we learned how to read the value from the user input, right? Then on day 2, that was yesterday, we discussed about or about basic operators, right? So when we know different data types, what are different operations we can perform on those operators, right? So we discussed about arithmetic, comparison, logical operators. We even wrote few basic programs yesterday, right? So that was what we did yesterday. Um, we will on day 3 we will revise one concept, okay, and then we will go to our topics, which is conditions. So day 3 today we are focusing on conditions, how to write conditions. And if you don't know what condition is, don't worry, we will soon get into that. Okay, so are we ready? So before we get into the conditions, I just said, let's practice one program based on whatever we have discussed so far. Okay, so we'll take one quadratic equation and we will solve it. So how many remembers quadratic equation? How do you know, how do we solve a quadratic equation, guys? Can you write down the formula in the chat? How to solve a quadratic equation? Remember? You don't remember? You don't remember also, that's fine. Nobody remembers? Okay. So what is quadratic equation? Quadratic equation is of form x square, ax square, right? So let me, yes. So Tanmay, you got it right. That is the formula for quadratic equation, right? That's how we write the quadratic equation. But how do we solve it? Okay. How do we solve it? Yeah, Lakshmi also got it right. But how do we solve it? That's the quadratic equation. Okay. Okay. Let me get into my pie chart. Okay, yes, Kushal got it right. Okay, so quadratic equation is of form, okay, your ax square plus bx plus c, right? And what we say here is your solution, it will have two solutions, isn't it? So first solution, okay, is minus b, correct? Okay, so Lakshmi says discriminant, right? So how do you, okay, before we get into solution, right? So Lakshmi has used word discriminant. Okay, so let's see what is discriminant. How do you calculate discriminant? Generally, we write discriminant as D, isn't it? How do we calculate discriminant? So discriminant is B square minus 4AC. Exactly correct, Kushal. So we write B, okay, I'll copy what Kushal has typed. Okay, b square 4ac, true. This is your discriminant. Then how do we write solution? Solution is your somebody has it here, I see. Okay, so correct, Kushal, again Kushal has it, right? So we say minus b, correct, then plus or minus, right? So first solution will have plus and second solution will have minus. Okay, plus or minus root d, square root, right? So I'm going to say square root of d, which is discriminant, right? So minus b plus or minus root d, and this is in a box, right? It's in a bracket, and whole thing divide by 2a. Whole thing you divide by 2a, right? So this is how we solve quadratic equation. Yes, I think most of you got it right. Exactly, Aman. Aman also got it right. So minus b plus or minus square root of d by 2a. And d is, of course, your b square minus 4ac. Awesome. Now, let's take an example. Let's take a quadratic equation, okay? And we will try to solve that equation, okay? So let's take a quadratic equation. Do you have any question with you, or maybe I'll take my own equation? Okay, you want to give us? Okay, let me take. Let me take a equation. Okay, guys. So let's see this. So equation is given as your 3x square, 3x square, okay, plus x plus 5 equal to 0. Okay, 3x square plus x plus 5 equal to 0. Okay, this is the equation. Then how do we solve it? So we say a equal to, right? In this case, a is 3, b equal to 1, and c equal to 5, correct? So your a is the coefficient of x square, b is coefficient of x, and c is the independent, the constant factor. So a is 3, b equal to 1, and c equal to 5. Okay. Now let's first calculate d, discriminant. D equal to b square. So we have b, and how do we find square? We did yesterday. B square, isn't it? B into 2 will make it square. Okay. Minus 4 into A into C. Okay. So now we get our D. Now we have two solutions. Solution 1 is represented as minus B minus, okay, minus B minus square root of D, right? So how do we calculate square root of D? Okay, square root of D is calculated as D star 0.5. So remember your mathematics class. Square is x to the power 2, and square root becomes 1 by 2. X to the power 1 by 2, right? That is your square root. Cube root will be x to the power 1 by 3. Okay, so to the power 1 by, okay, is your root, right? If you have to find root. So x to the power 1 by 2, 1 by 2 is nothing but 0.5. So d to the power 0.5 will give us square root of d, right? So this we have to put it in a bracket, correct? And then this should be divided by 2 times a. Okay, so this is solution 1, and then you have solution 2 again. Okay, solution 2 is same thing, but instead of minus here, we put plus, correct? So now our quadratic equation is solved. Let's print this value. So I'm going to say print format string, the solutions for, okay, or the value of x, you can say. The value of x for the given quadratic equation is, first solution 1 is, and then we say solution 2. Okay, and I'll put this bracket close. Okay, I think it's ready. Let's run it and see if we got it right or not. Okay. No. Okay, what happened? This became J, imaginary solution. Okay, when do we get imaginary solution? We get imaginary solution when D is minus value, right? So see, now let's print D and see what happens. Discriminant is D, right? So see, when D is minus negative values, you get complex value as solution, complex number. That's why we got complex. Minus 0.167 okay, minus 1.28j. Okay, and similarly, this one is also. So remember, if discriminant was negative, you would get a imaginary value. Okay, now we can take another solution, another question. Okay, another question where hopefully we will have positive quadratic value. Okay, so let's say we take example. Let's take an example where uh, uh, I'll just quickly think of one where the D will be positive. Okay. Now we'll keep this and we'll come back after, uh, you know, we'll come back after learning about if else, how to solve again. Okay. How to perform this again. Okay. So next question, we take problem such as, so this is your problem 1. Now I'll take problem 2. Okay. Problem 2. Here, our A is 2. Okay. A is 2. B is minus 12. And C is minus 54. Okay. So B is minus 12. A is 2. So this will be of the form 2x square minus 12x minus 54 equal to 0, right? Awesome. Now let's calculate D here. Okay, so to calculate D, we have to run this, isn't it? Okay, so D is B square minus 4AC, and these are your solution 1 and solution 2. Let's run it and see what happens. See, in this case, discriminant is positive, 576, 576. It is positive, right? So now the value that we'll get for this would be a real value, okay, not imaginary value, okay? And the equation is given by two values of x, which is minus 3 and plus 9. So these are two possible values. So now you can put these values here and see, okay? So solution 1, we said minus, okay, minus 3. So minus 3 would be 2x squared. So minus 3 square is 9, right? 9 into 2, 18. 18, and then you have minus 12 into minus 3, which is plus 36, correct? Minus 54. So 18 plus 36 is 54. 54 minus 54, 0. So see, minus 3 is correct answer for this. So, we solved, solution 1 is correct. So by now we know that solution 1 is correct. Now solve it again. Now this time we'll use 9 plus 9. Okay. So 9 square is 81. 81 into 2 will be 162, right? 80, 80, 160, and 1 plus 1, 2. So 162. Here you'll have minus 12 into 9, correct? What is 12 into 9? 108? Is it 108? Yes, 108, correct? And then minus 54. So 108 plus 54 is 162. So 162 minus 162, 0, right? So we got correct answer, right? So solution 1 is minus 3 and solution 2 is 9. These are our solution for this quadratic equation. Any question, guys? Did you understand how to use the basic that we have learned? So though we have done only 1 day of programming, basic programming, or 2 days of programming, but still we are able to solve complex problem like quadratic equation. Okay, So we have learned a lot so far. Okay, so don't ignore the importance of basic programming. Yes, any question? Great. Now let's move to the next topic. Now we are moving to, I call it as level 2. Okay, we have done level 1 of programming where we use basic programming to solve things. Next step is to move to level 2 of programming. So difference between level 1 and level 2. Okay, now those who have not done programming before, just listen to this. Okay, next 2-3 days is important. Next 2-3 days we'll talk about building logic, and if you get this thing, okay, the what we do for next 2-3 days, you can master this language. Okay, after that is just about using various other topics and seeing them how we can use it better, how to improve our programming. Okay, but the core logic will be built only for next 2-3 days only. Okay, after 3 days it is about improving your program. So next 2 days is important for you. Okay, next 2 days is very important for you. Okay, so let's go to next step, which is to solve, or the agenda for today, that was if else conditions, right? So how is if different than the programming that we have done so far? Okay, so so far, okay, our programming was basically to execute line by line, right? We were executing line by line. Okay, we started with line number 1, and then we started with line number 2. Okay, and then 3, 4, so on. Now we will see how to solve equation based on different condition. Okay, so let's take an example here. We'll solve another problem, one simple problem. Okay, okay, so now let's look at this example itself. Okay, let's look at this example. Tell me, okay, so we know that if discriminant is negative, okay, we say that the solution is real and imaginary, right? Okay, now for some reason, let's say you don't want to solve a real and imaginary problem. For some reason, you don't want to solve real and imaginary problems. Okay, so what we do, we come here, and before we print all these, what we'll do, we will check the value of d, and if d is less than 0, we say hold on, we are not going to solve this, right? So how do we do that? So I'm going to check, I'm going to say if. Okay, so condition in Python is used using if. So you say if d less than 0 colon, then if d less than 0, okay, colon. This is how we write conditions in Python. If is the keyword followed by the condition. Now this condition is very similar to our comparison operator. And what is the output of comparison operator? Boolean value, either true or false. So when you check this d less than 0, it will either be true or it will be false. There is no third possible values for this, correct? There is no third possible values. It will either be minus or it will be not minus, which is 0 or plus, isn't it? Now, if d is less than 0, that means this is evaluated. This in the sense d less than 0 is evaluated to true. If this becomes true, then we want to execute these two statements. So now these two print statement, I want to execute only when d is less than 0. Okay, we want to execute these two statements only when d is less than 0. Okay, so how do we tell Python that these two statements are less than 0? We need to tell them by giving a tab space. Okay, So tab space indicate that these two print statement is inside if. Now see here, for this we have not given tab space. Okay, we have not given tab space because all these are part of main program, has nothing to do with if. Okay, the statements that has nothing to do with if will start from very first position, that the way we have been doing so far. The program should begin from very first position. Okay, only if the statement a belongs to if condition, you want to execute those conditions, you want to execute those two statements. Okay, I want to execute these two statements only when d is less than 0, isn't it? I want to execute the statement only when d is less than 0. So we put it in if condition. Okay, so now in this case we know that so I can say that print discriminant. Okay, discriminant is negative, hence we have imaginary values for the x, imaginary value for the x. Now when you, okay, so now I copy and paste it. Okay, when I copy and paste it, okay, and now I try to run it. Okay, in this case what happens? Okay, discriminant is negative, hence we have imaginary value for x, right? Now, okay, and so you get this message, isn't it? Now when I try to print same thing here, in this case if I try to print, okay, now here what I'll say is I will put if only. Okay, I'm not putting the discriminant. Now when I run it, okay, so here the message is not getting printed, isn't it? Discriminant is negative, hence we have imaginary value is not getting printed here. Why? Because here discriminant is not less than 0. So this condition is getting false, whereas here this condition is getting true. So when this condition is getting true, you go inside. Okay, this is the first thing to remember. If is used to check condition, and we will go inside if only if the answer is true to the equation or the command that we give with if. Okay, so this is the comparison operator. This is what we have given with if, and if this is evaluated to true, we go inside if. If this is false, we don't go inside. We don't go inside if, right? We go inside only if this condition is true. So that is first thing to remember. Second thing to remember is, I told you space. So all the statements which we want to be part of if has to have a space. Has to have a space. Okay, how much space is the question? So for Python, even one single space is okay. You don't have to give tab space or 4 spaces. You can give even one space. For Python, even one space is enough. But you have to give at least one space. Why? Because Python will not know whether that line belongs to if or not. So it's like manager. If is manager, and this print reports to if. So since print reports to if, print has to be on the right side. It should be inside if. Everybody understands this? This is important, okay? Indentation is very important for Python. In original Python, Python, when we have not done if condition, everything is starting from first position. If you give a space here, you get error. Everything has to begin from first. Okay, okay. But when you're talking about if condition, you have to have at least one space. Python does not say how many spaces you have to give. It says at least one space has to be given. Okay, so when you're writing first line of code inside if, you have a choice of giving the number of spaces. But when you're writing the second line of code, you have no choice, but you have to give same number of spaces as the first one. Okay, so for first line inside if, you have a choice. Okay, you can give 1 space or 10 spaces or 30 spaces. But when you're writing the second line or the third line, for example, you have to give, okay, same number of spaces. Otherwise, it's going to throw error. If I don't give this space, let's say I give here, and now when I try to run it, indentation error, indentation error. Okay, so we have to give same number of space. Now when you run it, see, it worked fine, isn't it? So two things to remember for it with if. One, if is followed by condition. And if condition is true, it will go inside if. Condition is false, it will not go inside if. Okay, great. Then to indicate that the lines of code belongs to if block, and that is, it's like, it's like your house, and these are like your bedrooms and other rooms. Okay, so your house has to be the first one that people will see, and if you allow, only people will be able to go inside. If you don't allow, they can't see your rooms, right? If you don't allow, if strangers, you don't allow, you, they will not be able to see your room, or they'll not be able to see your house. So we have to indicate that with condition. If condition is true, that means you have access to the house. If condition is false, that means you don't have access to the house. So when you get in, for the first line, you have a choice, okay, to give the number of spaces you want. You can give one space also. But after that, second line onwards, you have no choice but to give the same number of spaces. Okay. So generally we give one tab space. Okay. Less than one tab space may be too difficult for eyes to read, and more than one tab space is not required. Okay. So we generally, you will see everybody, all the programs being given one tab space. Okay. Atul asked indentation. So my screen is visible, Jyoti. Okay. Okay. So I don't know, Manisha and Jyoti, why you are not able to see my screen. My screen is visible. Okay. Maybe you have to change your, you have to move to the screen. Okay. I can see my screen. Okay. Yes. So question of Atul is that indentation can be used only in a condition. No. Okay. We will see later. Okay. We'll see how you can use indentation in loops and classes and functions. But okay. But your condition is the first topic that we are doing on using indentation, right? So if condition, you have to use indentation. Okay. No, this is not the only one. Okay. We have other examples also where we will see how to give indentation. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to continue building this. So I just said, if you have to check if condition is true or not, you say if. Now what if? Okay. Now what I want to do is, if answer is less than 0, I want to say it is real and imaginary. If answer is not 0, then we will solve the solution. Then we will solve the solution. Okay. So what I'll do is, here if I say, if d is less than 0, discriminant is negative, hence we have imaginary values for the x. Else, okay, you can say print discriminant is real. Okay. Now what I have done is, I have extended the if clause. I have extended the if clause to include one more condition. Earlier I had only if, I had nothing else with if. So I'm just checking if is condition is true, you execute what is inside if, otherwise you continue executing your program. Now what I have done, I have added a else block to it. Else block means if is wrong, if condition is false, okay, we know that if condition is true, only then we go inside if. But if condition is false in if, then you go to else. Okay. So among if or else, among if and else here, one of the condition will definitely get executed. Okay. If the condition that we give in if is true, then the if command gets executed. If the condition is false, then else will get executed. Okay, so definitely one of the two we will get executed. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if D is 0, then you say imaginary. Otherwise, you say discriminant is real and you continue developing the solution, right? So when you have one condition, it is only if. If we have two condition, then we use if and else. And see, else does not use condition. Only condition is with if, because else is like default. So if doesn't work, then it will go to default. Okay, so else is like default condition. Okay. Now let's take one more example. What if you have three conditions to check? Okay, you have three conditions to check. What are those three conditions? So if D is less than 0, if D is less than 0, and if D is equal to 0. See, in this case, if D is equal to 0, then it, this whole thing doesn't make any sense, right? So you'll have only one solution, and the solution is minus B by 2A, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check for three conditions. Okay, so I'll say if D is less than 0, discriminant is negative, hence we have imaginary values for X. Okay, if it has imaginary values for X. Okay, now I'm going to say L if D greater than 0, okay, then discriminant has, I'll say is real and has two unique solutions, right? If discriminant is greater than 0, right? First I'm checking if this is less than 0. Now I'm checking if this is greater than 0, right? And here you pass these two statement here. Okay, now else. So else is like default. So see, when you have a if block, we call it is a if block. Okay, if block means it can have only if, it can have if elif, it can have else. Okay, but we call it as if because if is the starting condition, starting point, checkpoint to check conditions. Okay, so every if is unique. You can write one more if here. Okay, I can write one more if and do something else, but that if will be different than this if. But when you put elif and else, these are all part of same block. And in the given block, in a single given block, only one condition will get executed. Only one condition will be true. Okay, only one condition will be true. Okay, so now let's see what happens. So if D is greater than 0, of course, we want to say that discriminant is real and has two unique solutions. Else means default one. If this is false, then default else will be called. If else is called default, that means your discriminant is not 0. When C is 0, we know that answer is real, but it has only one solution. Okay, it will not have two solutions. So I'm going to say discriminant is real and has only one unique solution. Okay, and that solution is, okay, that's it. Okay, if discriminant is 0, see, I'm handling third condition, right? Third condition is default condition. Okay, so third condition is default condition, and you get something like this. Okay, any questions so far? Did you understand how we handle if, elif, else? Now, if you have multiple conditions, if you have more than 3, okay, if you have 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, then you repeat elif conditions only. Okay, your first condition is always if. Okay, if indicates beginning of if condition. So first condition is always if, last condition is always else. Last condition is always else. And in between, you can have any number of elifs, depending upon your business requirement. Okay. So let's take another example. Let's say I'm using two if conditions, which first one is given tab presentation. Okay. Okay. So there's a question on tab. See, this statement, line 29, is 1 for 28, right? So I just said for first line you have a choice. Now for elif, 31, 32, 33 are the lines. Okay. So this indentation has nothing to do with the previous one. Okay, has nothing to do with the previous one. So here again you can choose. Okay, I can give two two tab. So now since you have given two tab for the first line, you have to give two tab for the second and third one also, isn't it? But this part has nothing to do with this part because all this belongs to elif. So if elif is okay, then if is we don't have to check. So it's fine. Okay, you can do it like this. Okay, this will execute and this will give us a solution. For that block, you have a choice. But once you define the first line, then you don't have a choice. Hope it's clear. Okay. Now let's look at one more condition. Okay. Now we'll talk about if number is negative, positive, or zero. Okay. Let's check if a number is negative, positive, or zero. So I have a number here and I say number equal to -6 for now. Okay. So I'll check if number less than 0, we say print it's a negative. It's a negative number, right? Okay. Now I will check for positive. Elif number equal greater than 0, we say print it's positive negative number, right? Not power. What did I put? Okay, it's negative number, it's a positive number. Else print oops. Okay, so you see this, what we did. So there's some question, your voice is breaking. My voice should not be breaking. My internet is full here, guys. Okay. Okay. So see here. Okay. I have number -6. Okay. I'm checking if number is positive, negative, or equal to 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative, right? Left of 0 are your negative numbers. Right of 0 are your positive numbers, right? So first I'm checking number less than 0. Okay. This will be true when your number is negative. So your number is -6, -8, something negative. This first condition will be true, and then it will go inside true. Okay, inside true, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Then comes next checking, which I'm doing. Okay, is number greater than 0. So if number is greater than 0, it will enter into this. And third condition is if number is equal to 0, right? So I'm taking number, I'm comparing, and I have written 3 set of code. One if it is less than 0, one if it is greater than 0, and one if it is equal to 0. Right? So this should clear all your doubts for if condition. Let me know, guys, if you have any questions on this if condition. This is very important. If and loops, these two are important. Once you learn them, you can build any logic. Okay, so if condition is true, it will go in. Condition is false, it will not go in. And also, in a given if-else block, only one block will be called. So you see here, we have 3 blocks here. Okay, 3 blocks will not be ever called. Okay, it will be either first or second or third, not second and third or first and second. Okay, conditions are written such a way that if the block which is positive, which is true, okay, the block which is true will only get executed. So if only one block is true, otherwise everything else is false, isn't it? So it will not even check the condition. It will not even check the condition. Okay. Now, let's say, same example. Let's say that I want to find if number is positive or not. And within positive number, if it is positive number, then I want to see whether it is a, okay, if number is positive, then we'll say it is a even number or odd number. I don't want to do it for 0 or negative number. Negative numbers also you have same concept, right? And 0 also you have 0 is a even number. But I don't want to touch the first and third condition. I want to test this one, and I'm saying if number is positive, then tell me if it is positive or if it is positive or negative. If number is more than 0, then tell me it is even or odd. Okay, because number is positive. If it is positive, then tell me whether it is even or odd. Even or odd. So I need to check one more condition here, right? So I'm going to say if, and this if is inside elif, okay, and elif has already told me that this is positive, correct? So now if it is positive, then you come up with your third action plan. Third action plan is to check if that number is divisible by 2 or not. So how do we check? We say number modulo 2 equal to 0. Okay, number modulo 2. Remember yesterday's example. Again, we are revising what we did yesterday. Okay, what did we do yesterday? We did this, what do you call as modulo operation to check the remainder, right? So if I divide by number, and if the if you divide the number by 2, and if the output is also 2 or multiples of 2, right? 4, 6, 8. Okay, then it should say that print it's an even number. So yes, this is what is called as nested condition. Condition inside a condition. Already there is a condition, elif. Inside elif, I'm checking. Now, if number is not positive, the elif will not be called. And if elif is not called, then inside whatever is there, it will not be called, right? So if elif is not called, then it is even number will also not be called. And it is even number will be called only when the number is positive. Okay, so that's the beauty of condition. Okay, now again, guys, let me know if you don't understand. This is very important, very, very important for us to move ahead. Okay, if you don't understand, please let me know. I'm repeating purposely same thing 3 times, 5 times, 6 times, so that it stays in your mind. Okay, I'm repeating to it to stay in your mind. Okay, so what I have done, I have said it is even, and if it is not divisible by 2, if remainder is 1, then we will go and say else. Print it's an odd number. Okay, so now I'm saying it is an odd number. Okay, so if number is greater than 0, that means only number is prime. Number is integer. And then in the integer, I go and say this is positive, this is negative. Okay. So now we have seen example of using if inside if. Okay, let's make it a little more complex. Okay, more complex we understand, easier our doubts will become, right? So now I'm saying, is this number, of course, divisible by 3 also? Okay, of course, not all these numbers, right? Because 4 will be part of this. 4 is an even number and positive number, but 4 is not divisible by 3. So I want to check if the positive number is divisible by 2 also and 3 also. Okay, I need to pick numbers which are divisible by both 2 and 3. Okay, so see here in line number 45. Okay, we are here because the number is positive, and and the answer is not imaginary, real value. No, that means positive, right? We're talking about positive. So the number is positive, and also your number is even. Any questions so far, guys? So you will reach to 46. You will reach to 46 only if number is more than 0, and also number divided by 2, remainder will be 0. So, okay, this is the only place where number is positive and also divisible by 2. Divisible by 2, even number. So I'm saying that if it is divisible by 2, also check if it is divisible by 3 or not. So I'm going to say if number modulo 3 equal to 0. Okay, remainder third column. So we say if number modulo 3 equal to 0. If it is true, then you print. Then you say the number is divisible by both 2 and 3, isn't it? Because we already checked for 2, now we're checking for 3. Okay, so this will indicate that number is divisible by both 2 and 3. Okay, otherwise if I do else inside this else is for this if. So till here we know that number is divisible by 2, but we don't know whether it's divisible by 3 or not. So here you will print that number is not divisible by 3 but divisible by 2. The number is divisible by 2 uh, by 2 but not by 3. Okay, so again please concentrate and see this. Okay, we are checking number more than 0. If it is positive, then we are checking if number is divisible by 3 or not. If it is divisible by 3, then we are checking if it is divisible by 3 or not. Right? If it is divisible by 3, then we can claim that this line is divisible by both 2 and 3. Okay, else means what? This became false. That's when you come to else. Else would mean that you are saying number is divisible by 2 but not by 3. Correct? Because we're still inside even number phase. So in even number phase, number is divisible by 2, but it is not divisible by 3. Okay, so you get this. Now again, you come to this else part. Okay, these are all your odd numbers. Okay, I want to check if odd number is divisible by 5 or not. How will I do it? You put a if condition there. Okay, and if it is true, it is. Okay, if it is true, that means it is divisible by 5 but not by 2. Correct? So now if I take the same thing here, if I copy and paste it same thing here in this else, what does it mean? See, this else means number is not divisible by 2. This else means number is not divisible by 2. Now I'm checking if number is divisible by 3 or not. Yes, then we say that number is divisible by only 3. Because 2 we already checked and it is not divisible by 2. That's why we are in other condition, odd number. And we say number is divisible by only 3. And here would mean number is neither divisible by 2 nor by 3. Okay. If is when number is positive, else is when number is negative. So inside positive, again we are checking if number is divisible by 2 or not. Even number. When you go to odd number, that means it is not divisible by 2. Now we have one more condition where, okay, we have to check whether a number is divisible by 2 and 3 or not. So we end up getting 4 such operations. Divisible by both 2 and 3, not at all divisible by 2 and 3, both not at all divisible by 2 and 3, and then 50-50. Divisible by 2, not by 3. Divisible by 3, not by 2. Make sense? Everybody? Okay, go with me. Don't jump ahead. If you know, very good. If you don't know, that's when you have to learn, right? So guys, we have not done programming before. Is it clear? Please give me a message, thumbs up, so I know that it is clear. Karthik, Roshan, perfect, perfect. Okay, perfect. So I hope everybody has really got it. Great, great. Okay, okay. If you got it, great. That means you have cleared level 2 also. Okay, said this is level 2 of our programming conditions. Okay, so let's do one more example before we go. Okay, now I'm going to find marks of 3 students at 3 subjects, find the average, and based on average I will find the grade. Okay, let's do it quickly. So I have marks 1, and you can always say input, int of input, read value from user, right? But let's say manually I'm giving to save time. Now I say marks 2 equal to 88. Then I have marks 3, which is equal to 79. Okay, so your sum will be marks 1 plus marks 2, okay, plus marks 3. Okay, and you are saying sum equal, sorry, AVG, right? AVG equal to sum by 3. Okay, so we got AVG also. If you want to print, you can print average marks obtained is n. And what is n? N is AVG, right? Where is AVG, right? So now when you run it, so marks obtained is 81. Okay. Now based on this average, Aman, no, we have not done it. Okay. So average marks, okay, is obtained. Based on average, I want to give grade. Okay. So if average is greater than equal to 80, I want to give grade A. Okay. So if average is greater than 80, I want to give grade A. If I want to give, okay, average is greater than 80, I want to give grade A. Now, if average is less than 80, but more than 70, so elif, right? All the other conditions are elif except the last one. So I'm saying elif average greater than equal to 70, then you say print grade B, right? Now I'll do it for other grades also. AVG greater than equal to 60. Let's say you do grade C. Okay. Elif AVG average greater than equal to 50. Mm, 50, you say print grade D. Okay, so grade D, let's say greater than 40 also. If AVG greater than equal to 40, I say print grade E. And finally, I say else print okay, not A, F, right? So A is when you get more than 80, B is when you get more than 70, C is more than, okay, 60, D is more than 50, more than 40, you get E, and else means what? Default condition. So we have taken every other condition greater than 40. What is left is less than 40. That means if you get average less than 40, you get grade F, fail grade, grade F. Okay. So this is how you can write multiple conditions here. Now, see, our average is 81. So when we run it, we will get grade A because average is more than 81. But even this condition is true, isn't it? Average is 80. So average is 81. So 81 is greater than 70, isn't it? So why do you think this second condition, okay, grade B is not called? See, condition wise it's true, right? Okay, just like average greater than equal to 80 in the first condition matched and you moved ahead, something similar should happen here also, isn't it? Okay. Okay. So yes, it's not coming. Okay. It's not coming because I told you at one given point time, only one condition will be called. Okay. Condition which is first to become true, as you are right. If I have average equal to 81, all these conditions are true. Average is more than 80, average is more than 70, average is more than 50, more than 60, more than 40. All these conditions are true. But first condition is met first. So I told you in if else block, okay, okay, only one block will be called, one sub block will be called. First matching sub block. Here, the first average itself is matching. It is itself is matching. So we are getting grade A, and then none of the other conditions will be called in the same block. If you have one more if down, it can check. But within same if elif block, no other condition will be called. No other condition will be called. No other condition will be called. That's why you see only one time it is getting repeated. Okay. Now let's make it a little more interesting. If a person has got grade 90 or percentage 90, we say that that person has won President Award, President Medal from the school. Okay. Now to perform that, we know that average greater than 90 is here. Okay, I need to assign it to give it to the students who have scored more than 90. So more than 90 is also here, included here itself. So I can say here, if AVG greater than 90, okay, you win President Award. Okay, so now see, I have written average greater than 90 inside average greater than 80, because if value is more than 80, only then it can be more than 90. If it is not more than 80, it can't be more than 90. So you have to put it under 80 condition, because we don't have 90 condition. We don't have 90 condition here. So you have to directly go and check 80 condition and then check if the value is more than 90 or not. Or let's say we make it less than, greater than, equal to 90. If the average grade is more than 90, in this case, average is 81. Obviously, 81 is not enough to get you President Award. Okay. though you're getting present award, but 91 is not enough to get you present award. Now, for example, let's make this as 90. Okay. Now, when you run it, okay, here you see marks obtained is 95. Okay, this is the average marks obtained. Then grade A, and you win President Award. Grade A, and you win President Award. Okay, this President Award is inside if because, okay, we said more than 90. 90 will happen only when it is more than 80. Correct? So this is how you can keep adding loop, sorry, not loop, keep adding conditions to condition. Good so far, guys? Was it clear? Yes, Roshan, you're right. Okay, Roshan says if is not under main. Yes, that is not under main, but that if is inside some other if. So if that some other if is right, only then this if will be checked. Okay, it may not get executed, but it will get checked only if the outer if is correct. If outer if it itself not correct, incorrect, then inner, no matter what you do, you will not get it right. First outer, then inner. Okay. Okay, so hope you all have understood the concept of if else. We'll stop here. Now, tomorrow when we meet, we will talk about loops. And when we do loop examples practice, we'll revisit conditions again there. Okay, conditions are important for us. So Santosh sir, is it okay for today? We have covered conditions and tomorrow we'll talk about loops.
Yes, sir. I think it is okay. We can open for Q&A. If anybody has any questions, they can raise the hand and then we can ask them to speak. Yes, everyone. So if you have any questions, kindly raise your hand. We will allow you to ask the questions from sir.
So Lakshmi, please go through the recordings. Okay. The first two recordings are already uploaded. Ma'am, Lakshmi is asking that today is first class. So,
yes, Lakshmi, you can have the recordings of the previous classes as well. We have the recordings and the recordings are getting shared in YouTube. So you might want to go there and listen the recordings.
Right. Kushal says where to practice. So in the first day, Kushal, the first video, we have told you how to practice. Okay. So go through first day video. You can practice on Google Colab or you can download PyCharm on your machine and you can practice.
Yes. So Shreya has some question and please go ahead, Shreya.
Shreya, hi. Can you hear us?
All right. If anyone else has any question, guys, please raise your hand and we can answer those questions for you. All right. So Aman also has some questions. Yes, Aman, you can go ahead and ask questions.
मैम मैम यूट्यूब चैनल कौन सा है आप लोगों का मैम?
Oh, you're not audible. Can you little bit be louder?
हाँ, तो मैम ये पूछ रहा है कि कहाँ पे ये पिछला रिकॉर्डिंग कहाँ पे देख सकता है, पूछ रहा है.
ओके ओके, सो पिछला रिकॉर्डिंग आप YouTube में देख सकते हैं, लिंक व्हाट्सएप पे शेयर करेंगे हम। सो आप YouTube में जाके रिकॉर्डिंग सुन सकते हैं, देख
ओके
सकते
मैम,
हैं।
आप शेयर कर दियो। मैं कल पिछला क्लास अटेंड नहीं कर पाया था मैं।
ठीक है ठीक है, नहीं आप दोनों रिकॉर्डिंग सुन सकते हैं। आज हमारी ये थर्ड क्लास थी, तो आप दोनों रिकॉर्डिंग सुन सकते हैं। ऑल
ओके
राइट,
मैम।
वेलकम। ऑल राइट, सो रोशन, व्हाट इज योर क्वेश्चन?
Ma'am, my two friends want to join our WhatsApp group.
All right, so there is a link that you can forward them to join your friends. We will share the link in our WhatsApp group. You can just forward that link to your friend और वो वहां से उस लिंक को क्लिक करके ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं। हम अपने ग्रुप
Okay.
में, हाँ, हम अपने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में वो लिंक डाले हैं, तो आप उसको अपने फ्रेंड को फॉरवर्ड करके आप उसको वो वहां से ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं डायरेक्टली। Okay, so Tanmay asked what is about the quiz, and yeah, so quiz will be coming in, Tanmay. We have just started the class, so we have quizzes in between, and there will be surprise questions and quizzes, and the one who answers it wins a prize. Yeah. Okay, so if is Shreya available to speak? Are you there, Shreya, or we will just wrap the class in 1 minute? Will we get completion certificate? Yes. Once the entire course is completed, you will get the completion certificate, Nikita. All right then, sir. I think we are good to close today's session, and yeah, we can just wrap it up, and then tomorrow same time we are going to start the session at 4 p.m. Please be on time. Please join before 5-10 minutes so that you settle down before the class starts.
Thank you so much, everyone. And yes, see you tomorrow, same time. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.